Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. So today I will explain about the water sources. In building services, we obtain our water for drinking, cleaning and bathing from a source according to a country. Sources of water can be divided into groundwater and surface water. In Malaysia, we use surface water as a source of water, which is a river. However, in surface water nowadays has been contaminated the virus of contaminants, especially from industrial activities. These contaminants including heavy metal that can danger to our health. In this video, I will explain and describe the type of source water that can be used as water supply for a building. Then I will explain the source of water used in Malaysia and its problem. Also, I will suggest a technology that can be used to treat our water. So next is, what is water supply? Water supply is a provision to deliver water to consumer with appropriate quality, quantity and the pressure by public utilities, commercial organization, community, individuals, or by individuals, usually via a system of pumps and pipes. Firstly, I will explain the types of water resources. Assessing the water unit might be as simple as turning on the faucet, but this is not ultimately where your water comes from. In fact, the Earth's water supply comes from a series of different places. Some you might expect and other you might not. To fully understand the process of obtaining the quality drinking water of your life or home, it is crucial that you first know sources. Then you first know these resources. These are the types of water sources around the globe, and how they each play a role in what comes out of your home's sinks. The first type of water resources is the surface water resources. Surface water resources are the most commonly used method of supplying water to various regions in Malaysia. These classifications primarily include rivers, lakes, streams, reservoirs, and wetlands, all of which contain fresh water rather than saltwater. These sources are easiest to filter, so they produce the highest quality drinking water for the general public. Plus, another reason we mostly use these resources is their accessibility public. Plus, another reason we mostly use the resources is their accessibility. Many people live near large lakes or streams from which they can easily extract water. Surface water is therefore the most reasonable option for providing homes and businesses with the resources they need to go functions. However, people commonly use the rivers and lakes for recreational activities such as swimming and fishing. These places also play a part in the industrial manufacturing process. As such, water from these resources require extensive sterilizations before it is ready for consumption and use. So next, I will explain about the groundwater resources. Believe it or not, there is actually a larger resources of water underneath your feet than there is in all the rivers and lakes combined. However, we rarely get to tap into these resources due to how difficult they are to reach. Groundwater fills the cracks in the bedrock and sand beneath the surface, making contaminants tedious to filter out in the large quantities. These sources also saturate soil and contain so much sediment that the water must undergo a thorough filtration process to even become drinkable. So while groundwater is the main source of plant hydration, it is not often a sustainable option for people. Fortunately, we are not completely cut off from groundwater sources. Many of them feed some of the surface water supplies through underground springs. So the next type of the water resources is the storm water resources. Otherwise known as the runoff or rainwater, storm water is water that come from heavy water such as rains, snow and hail. This water flows over the land and in the process collects a variety of pollutants such as engine oil, fertilizer, and pesticide. As it picks up these contaminants, it eventually gathers in the different area, potentially combining with some of our other water resources. For this reason, some water and water from any other type of source must undergo a series of tests that properly identify and filter out the dangerous toxins. In addition, since the majority of this water flows back into the oceans, capturing it beforehand it is a great way to increase our overall water supply on the land. For this reason, many sustainability experts have researched different ways to collect this water and filter it before it washes away. So the next type of water resources is the wastewater resources. You might not initially think of it as an option, but wastewater is another type of water resources in the world. This is the water we use for our household, manufacturing, and agriculture activities. It is then disposed of through our drains and local sewage system. Because this water has already been used, it may contain several potentially toxic elements that must be filtered out and disposed of before the water can be used again. Unfortunately, while recycling water is a common practice in the various communities, most wastewater still gets dumped in a local surface water resources. This contaminates them and make it even more difficult to filter out all the contaminants. For this reason, conservation efforts to stop business from dumping wastewater into lake and river are on the rise. So the next type of the water resources is the salt water resources. It is common knowledge that our ocean make up over 70% of the planet. However, the salty, abrasive nature of this water makes using it for any of our current process extremely difficult. In fact, the amount of salt present in ocean water make it impossible for us to safely drink it in large enough quantity to survive. This is why dominantly rely on the freshwater resources to supply us with the water we need to drink. Fortunately, recent advances in filtration technology have yielded more effective ways to dilute salt water and remove the acidity that prevent us from using it. Still, desalination plants are low in the number due to the amount of energy this filtration process requires. Further evolution of these tools will make the process more sustainable and easier to repeat. So the last type of the water resources is the ice cap water resources. Shockingly, it is theoretically possible for us to retrieve some water from the polar ice caps and glaciers. This large body of ice flows through the ocean, but they actually consist of the fresh water. This made them some of our most ideal resources. If we can develop reliable ways to tap into them, unfortunately, the glaciers are too far away for us to regularly utilize, and we have yet to come up with an effective way to map them. So the process of even reaching these territories is too much of an economical burden to be sustainable for long periods. In addition to this, the polar ice caps are crucial to regulating the Earth's surface temperature. Going through the effort of melting them will be ultimately through our global temperature out of balance and do more harm than good. So next, I will explain about the water sources in Malaysia. Malaysia is a country with abundant water resources such as surface water resources, groundwater resources, stormwater resources, and wastewater resources. So this four type of water resources is always used in Malaysia. So next, I will explain the major problems of water management in Malaysia. The major problem of water management in Malaysia is floods. Floods refer to the inundation of large parts of land by water, which otherwise remain dry for some duration of times. Flood causes heavy loss to agriculture, livestock, and property. Deforestation, overgrazing, mining, industrialization, global warming, and so on have contributed largely in the incidence of floods. So next is the waterlogging. A soil is said to be waterlogging when it is completely saturated with water, which is caused by water stagnation of flat land and low-lying areas. It occurs due to excess rainfall, floods, signage, higher water table, obstruction to natural drainage, over-irrigations, and so on. So the last major problem water management in Malaysia is the watershed management. Rain is the main source of water on the earth. When the rainwater reaches the earth's surface, part of it is evaporates and part of it taken by plants. A part of groundwater is retained, a part is infiltrated, and the remaining water flows as a surface runoff through the drainage system into the sea. Each of the river system has a separate drainage units which depend upon the terrain, geology, climate, and the land use pattern. So the next will explain about the technology that can be implemented to solve the problem of water contamination in Malaysia. Firstly is coagulations. Coagulation is the process used to neutralize charges and form a gelatinous mass to trap or bridge particles, thus forming a mass large enough to settle or be trapped in the filter. So the second technology is the membrane process. A membrane process is any method that relies on the membrane barriers to filter or remove particles from water. Fluid is passed through the membrane because of the pressure difference between one side of the membrane and the other. Contaminants remain on one side only. So the third technology is the adsorption. Adsorption is widely used in the drinking water treatment to remove organic substance in the tertiary wastewater treatment and in the groundwater remediation. It is also used in home water treatment and to treat water used in the aquariums and swimming pools. So the next technology is the RO water for dialysis. RO water for dialysis is the mainstay of dialysis water purification. Hydrostatic pressure drives water across a semi-permeable membrane and excludes 90% of the contaminants. This strategy will remove ionic contaminants, bacteria, and endotoxin. So the next technology is dissolved air flotation (DAF). Dissolved air flotation (DAF) is a water treatment process that clarifies wastewaters or other waters by removal of suspended matters such as oil or solids. A very similar process known as induced gas flotation is also used for wastewater treatment. So the last technology in the water treatment is osmosis. Reverse osmosis is a membrane separation process in which feed water flows along the membrane surface under the pressure. Purified water permits the membrane in its collapse, while concentrated water containing dissolved and undissolved material that does not flow through the membrane is discharged to the drains. So that's all from me. Thanks for paying attention to my video presentation today. Before I end my video today, I would like to leave this video as a motivation and idea for us and the country of Malaysia so that we can utilize our water resources without causing pollution.
If you try to drink water from the ocean, it will be salty, it will dehydrate you and eventually kill you. This This is why no one drinks ocean water. But what happens when you have nothing else left to drink? See, I am now in one of the driest countries in the world, the Emirates. It's a country with very little water. It has 0 rivers, it rains 10 days a year, it is surrounded by salty ocean water, and 90% of its groundwater is also salty. In other words, 10 million people live in the desert with not enough water to drink, not for humans or animals. This isn't just the Emirates. 99% of the world's water cannot be drunk. It's just too salty or too frozen. But for the first time ever, I want to show you the step-by-step process of how this country found water. The first thing they did is collect the only water they have, ocean water. Then they built this. Tens of these factories that specialize in one thing, removing salt from water. They take the ocean water, pressure it, and put it through a filter that does not allow salt to enter. Salty water goes in here, and fresh water exits from here. This is a crazy complicated process. Every day, not thousands, not millions, billions of liters of waters are cleaned this way. Every day, billions of liters of ocean water enter salty and leaves clean. Now, 90% of the entire country's water comes from the ocean. It is the highest in the world. Okay, so we're here at a farm in the middle of the desert, and I have this. This water came straight from the ocean, and it was desalinated in the process, and now you can use it to actually, feed the animals, feed the plants, and it's very cool, it's very warm, and it's very drinkable. That's magic! The next thing they did is even crazier. Instead of cleaning water, they created new water. And this is a true story. They sent planes all the way to the clouds and released salt in the air. They have a lot of it. Because of the salt, the clouds grow bigger and bigger, and eventually they rain fresh water into the country. This is called cloud seeding, and in 2017, they did it almost every single day. And when that water falls to the ground, they catch it. All the rainwater they collect here by building a huge dam. And this fresh water is what keeps the people alive. I don't think people appreciate this enough. But this water is fresh water, it's rainwater, that was supposed to go to the ocean and become salty. But they caught it before it went to the ocean in the middle of a dam, and they made this lake. But most importantly, you can drink this water. From desalination to cloud seeding to dam building to well building, humans are doing the impossible just to find water. And the big idea here is simple. If we have to go and seed clouds and do all this complicated stuff, the least we can do is save water when we can and turn off that water sink.